The Oklahoma Sooners tight end room, which could hardly be considered really even existent in 2023, be a position of strength as the Sooners enter the SEC in 2024? Let's talk about it. Welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football's Sooner Magic Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, and if you love college football, particularly Oklahoma football, you're definitely in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of Hall of Fame college football. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Gonna talk a little bit today about that tight end room for the Oklahoma Sooners, a room that really was kind of non-existent in 2023, as you basically had, I want to say it was 2 total touchdowns and 20 receptions on the season. What a difference a year makes. Hey guys, before we jump into the topics for the day, I just wanted to take a moment to shout out our partners at Hall of Fame College Football, Mint Mobile. Look, I am super grateful for this partnership with Mint Mobile because, let's be serious, if you're anything like me, you're overpaying for your wireless service. But with Mint Mobile, you can get everything you get with big wireless, aside from the big price tag, for as low as $15 a month. Speed, coverage, data, 5G access, mobile hotspot. It's all available right there on Mint Mobile and for way less than you're used to paying at your big wireless carrier. How do they do it? They basically just reimagined the entire wireless experience. They made it simple because they made it online. No more going down to big wireless's store and dealing with a pushy salesperson, having to wait in a long line to do so. Everything you do with Mint Mobile is right through its app on the phone that you already own. You can literally go and purchase your service from the phone that you have and activate it right now. TryMintMobile.com/HOF is our partner link. And if you sign up today, you can get 3 months of unlimited talk, text, and data for just $45. That's $15 a month for the best package they have for 3 months. If you could get it with big wireless, you can get it right here on Mint Mobile. Check it out and thank me later. So, as we talked about, this is a room that really, aside from Austin Stogner, you really just didn't get a whole lot of production out of the tight ends in 2023. Once you lost Braden Willis from the 2022 team to the San Francisco 49ers, you had some guys that were young, unproven. Then, as you saw, up on the screen there, Caden Helms missing his second season with an injury. Starting to look like you might get him back, as a matter of fact. But this is a room that basically has zero depth overall to speak of whatsoever in 2023. Stogner had 17 receptions on the year, 196 yards, and 1 touchdown. You also got 2 receptions for 30 yards and another touchdown from Blake Smith, 1 catch for 26 yards from Cade McIntyre. 20 total receptions from Oklahoma tight ends on the entire season. Now, what I tell you is the poor old Stog, as we talked about, he struggled a bit. He had some injuries and really kind of had to play through it. But what it showed was that this was a offense that was never really going to be that reliant on the run game, or anything that aside from throwing the ball to your receivers. Now, while you didn't see production wise that being a problem for this offense, it certainly was an issue in certain games when you needed a yard or two here, a yard or two there, a short catch, a guy that you could rely upon to get those tough yardage catches over the middle, like an Austin Stogner. The times that he was in the game, he was generally putting that hand into the ground and being a blocker, even though he was kind of held together by, duct tape and bandages for most of the season, I would say. Now, when you start paying attention to the fact that aside from Stogner, Smith, and McIntyre, you really just didn't have any depth. And when I say that, it's because although there were other guys in the room, guys like Josh Fanuel, Hampton Fay, and Hayden Bray, none of them were ever activated to be part of a game day roster. And again, you really didn't look like you were going to have a whole lot more than that coming into this season either. Enter into the fray, though, Bauer Sharp, something of a, I guess it might seem like a bit of a savant when you look at what he is. We're talking about a big-bodied, converted quarterback from southeastern Louisiana who came over in the transfer portal. As we have seen so far, you've really kind of seen him step up and do some really cool things for the Sooners in early spring practice. He's been a target that new quarterback Jackson Arnold seems to really like. He's got some speed, very good hands. He's smart and a good route runner. He appears to be the kind of guy that is going to be able to give you some needed yardage. Now, we talked a little bit about Caden Helms as well. Caden Helms is, of course, everybody probably knows him from the Red Dirt media podcast that he does with Nick Anderson, the all-world receiver for the Oklahoma Sooners. But we hadn't seen a ton of him on the field since the one play or a couple of plays that he got into during the Nebraska game in his freshman season, the first year under Brent Venables, in which he got one catch, was hurt on the play, and then you hadn't really seen him since. He didn't get in the rest of the season from that injury. Then he got hurt early again during I believe it was during spring of last year as well. We did not see him the entirety of the season in 2023 either. He appears to be making at least strides to get back into things. And as he talked about during media sessions last Tuesday, he's excited about the opportunity, but his strength is up from working with Schmitty so much and being rehabilitated that it looks like he could provide some much needed depth to go along with Bauer Sharp. And of course, the other transfer portal guy coming in, Jake Roberts, who played at Baylor this past season, following a couple of years playing for Seth Luttrell at North Texas. The biggest probably addition, and I believe that this might be one of the all-time recruiting coups in Oklahoma history, at least as long as I've been around, is Davon Mitchell. True freshman, 6'5", 250 pounds worth of man that is getting a lot of, and probably fairly enough, getting an awful lot of comparisons to guys like Jermaine Gresham, Mark Andrews, those kind of guys who were all pros in the league and absolutely fantastic in their time at Oklahoma as well. Now, Jermaine Gresham to me is like 1A when it comes to Oklahoma tight ends that I can remember in my lifetime. Keith Jackson is still number one overall, but Jermaine Gresham was a flat-out mismatch, and that's exactly what this guy looks like as well for Oklahoma, despite the fact that he was coming in as a reclassified freshman, should be really a high school senior this year. He was originally in the 2025 class. He was a top 10 overall recruit. In the 2025 class, he slid out of 5-star status into the top 100 for the 24 class. But to me, that's a huge pickup for Oklahoma. The fact that, to me, he's probably, they're saying there's 11 better tight ends in the 24 class than him. I'm guessing by the time this is all over with, I don't see it. And if you're paying attention to what you're seeing on the screen, you probably don't see it either. Okay. Anyway, to me, this is a situation where a year ago you were in just kind of an unenviable spot for Oklahoma, not just in the passing game with tight ends. And that's always a safety valve for a quarterback, particularly a young quarterback coming into his first year as the full-time starter. This is a big deal to have a guy like Bauer Sharp, to have a guy like Davon Mitchell, who has, by all intents and purposes, been penciled in as the Oklahoma starter. He's essentially a high school senior playing and going to be playing a starter's role in his very first season in Norman. That's pretty insane. But if you can stay healthy there, with not just with him, but you've also got a guy like Bauer Sharp, then you got a guy that, by all intents and purposes, you expect Caden Helms to be a big-time player. He's a guy that was recruited by Lincoln Riley for his ability to, play that H-back tight end position, be able to do a lot of different things. If you remember, under Lincoln Riley, the H-back position was pretty important to the overall success of Sooner offenses. I look back to guys like Dimitri Flowers, and then after that, Jeremiah Hall, who both of which just were integral pieces to explosive offenses in Norman. Caden Helms seems to be that type of player as well. Again, I really like Bauer Sharp and what we're seeing out of him so far, but Davon Mitchell could be just an absolute game changer in his own right. And this could be a room that went in 1 year from pretty non-existent to one of the strengths of the Oklahoma offense. Again, going into the SEC, which is very defensive-minded and going to feast on quarterbacks that make mistakes, having the ability to kind of make it easier on Jackson Arnold, giving him weapons, short passes, being able to really do a good job of running the football is going to be an important piece of what makes them successful in their first season in the SEC. Let me know what you guys think about this, though. I look forward to hearing all of it. Thanks a lot for everybody looking at and taking a look at what we were talking about with our true freshman segment on the defensive side of the ball. Actually wanted to just say that we had a comment from Reggie Power's dad that says, according to what he's telling us, he's not so much playing the outside corner position as he's doing a lot of cheetah, and which is kind of, again, a hybrid between a defensive back and a linebacker. He's saying that he's getting a lot more play at that position. From what we heard from everybody else that's been around practice, it's obviously been that he was playing an actual cornerback position on the outside. That may or may not be true. What it doesn't change, no matter what, is having a guy like him as a true freshman making an impact is probably pretty big time for what we're going to see from these Sooners in year one in the Southeastern Conference. But let me know what you guys think about all of this, and stay tuned for more as spring practice rages on. We'll talk a lot more about what we see out of Jackson Arnold and probably anything else you guys want to talk about. Let me know in the comments, and we will see you on the next one.